For the last time, good evening, councillors. Please be seated. Can I extend a warm welcome to those that are joining us on our streaming service, and you are very welcome. But tonight, I'd like to say a specifically warm welcome to two people in the public seating area who have travelled all the way from Vancouver Island in British Columbia. And I would love to say it's because they've heard that Lichfield District Council, out of 146 councils, won the Councillor of the Year award. And I would also like to say it's because they have heard that Lichfield District Council is a truly inspirational council. But I can't really say those things because it would be lying. They've just come to visit Jill and me. So let's move on to the first part of the evening. And before we move on to agenda items, the actual meeting commences with pre-council prayers. And I hope you're all waiting with expectation for the final instalment of my multicultural, multi-faith prayers. However, there is a problem. My final speaker has not materialized. So does that mean there are no pre-council prayers tonight? Well, as I have a personal maxim, which is, if you want a job doing, you are probably better doing it yourself. The answer to the question is no, because I will present the final prayer session. Something which has given me sleepless nights, and I have to say I now feel extremely nervous about this. So I hope you will bear with me and will perhaps understand a different take on faith. I feel some of you are probably sitting there open-mouthed and in wide-eyed astonishment. As a year ago, I confessed I was not a regular churchgoer, and I would feel hypocritical appointing a chaplain. However, the previous council prayers have shown us there are different types of faith. So what religious words of wisdom can I offer? I'm not a regular church attendee. There are many reasons for that. I confess I'm not spiritually moved in church. Also, in churches I have attended, there are too many Pharisees, which some of you will understand. And I've always said that to me, religion is not about God. It is about community. And those of you with Christian faith may be shocked by that statement. But I will quote from an article in the Sunday Times supplement, and I have to say it was lent to me because I don't buy the Times. I'm more of a Mail on Sunday person. And the article was by the chief rabbi. And the final paragraph of the article said, at the end of the day, religion is not about God, but it is about community. Those were the words of the chief rabbi. Now, I have listened to all our pre-council prayer speakers, hoping to glean some understanding of faith. I've enjoyed, if that is an appropriate word, all the presentations, but I have not been spiritually moved or converted. Introspection made me think probably I'm just a Philistine or a pagan. But then I actually thought, I don't really know the true definition of those words. So I looked them up in the dictionary. Something I have to do frequently at home, having Jill as a retired English teacher, and she often uses words I don't understand. I can say that I'm definitely not a Philistine, but I discovered I am a pagan. Shock Horror. Does that mean I worship Satan? Absolutely not. A pagan is a person holding religious beliefs other than the Abrahamic religions of Judaism, Islam, or Christianity. So, in effect, Buddhists, who were around 400 years before Christianity came into being, Buddhists are pagans. Pagan is defined as a follower of a polytheistic religion, a word not in my dictionary. Polytheistic describes the belief that God, divinity, or a sacred force is identical with the universe, nature, and everything within it. The key characteristics of paganism are: God is not above or outside the universe, but present in all things. The universe, nature, and the divine are indistinguishable. It involves the profound awe and reverence for the natural world as sacred. So my spiritual moments have been, for example, in the Peak District, walking in Switzerland with my Swiss brother-in-law, when at the top of a mountain I felt I was on top of the world, looking down on creation. Good song title, that. Last week, I was talking to a council officer who was telling me about his recent holiday. He said, and it's very poetic this, the sun was shining, reflecting in the spray from the waves, so it looked as if the air was full of diamonds. On his other side, there was a forest, and in the distance, mountains. Out of the blue, he suddenly said, that is my religion. Paganism, or of the world. If you have a Christian faith, you may feel you have to go to church. I do not have that feeling, although I do support my local church, which dates back to the 14th century. You can't be a village without a village church. But at Christmas, Easter, and Harvest Festival, I do attend, when instead of having a congregation of 14, the church is standing room only, as it is full of local farmers and villagers. And I think that is all about community. So I am happy being a pagan, and I get my spiritual moments from my profound awe of the natural world. To me, the Ten Commandments are not religious rules, but are a moral code by which we should live our lives. In the church, when there are prayers of intercession, I sit there thinking, is anybody actually listening? Mankind, and I should include womankind to be correct, were given freedom of choice. I feel there is no point praying, as the only way the world can be put right is by us. We cannot pass responsibility to a so-called divine force and absolve ourselves of responsibility. So how do I now finish with a prayer? That has been the difficult bit. Get back to that in a moment. I'm reminded of the way Dave Allen, the Irish comedian, used to finish his shows. He would say, and may your God go with you. And I always used to think what a strange thing to say. But now I appreciate that God is something different to all of us. We are taught there is but one God. That does not mean religion is a one-size-fits-all. God is something which may be different to each and every one of us. So how do I finish? Satnam, the Sikh ladies' prayer session, gave me an idea. And don't panic, I'm not going to sing. Who said thank goodness for that? Yeah, but listen, I'm still the chair for 3 minutes, so I will not have that in the chamber. I am going to play a song which could be the anthem of paganism. I do appreciate, as we all do, that the world and life in general for some people is absolutely rubbish, and we should be ever mindful of that. But for those of us who are so lucky, this song says it all. And I hope, as my singing partner Lizzie isn't here, I can operate this bit of equipment. Oh, come back, Lizzie, all is forgiven. And I hope this now works.
And I think to myself, this is not a sovereign. Rise and rise, and I think to myself. Colors of the rainbow, some pretty in the sky. I also saw the faces of the don't talk about it. It's the friends,
So what a wonderful world. Amen. Can I go now, Mark? No, I'm trying to make the most of it and, pad it out. Right. Well, I'll sit back down again. Item 1. Are there any apologies for absence?
Thank you, Chair. No.
Item 2. Declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest? No. So we move on to the final bit for me, the election of chair of council for the ensuing year. Can I ask for nominations? Councillor Cox.
Thank you, Chair. I would just get my notes up. Tom. Is it Tom? Tom Marshall. It is. I'm jesting. Fellow councillors, it's my privilege to formally propose my fellow Armitage with Handsacre Ward Councillor, Councillor Tom Marshall, for the position of Chairman of Lichfield District Council for the upcoming municipal year. I look up at the previous chairs of this council and note the councillor to represent the district from the last one in Armitage and Handsacre was 37 years ago and was former chairman, the late Councillor Frank Lewis. back in 1989-90. The District Council requires a chairman who deeply understands both our urban centres and our rural villages. Councillor Marshall has served the district with absolute dedication for 23 years, proving that he has the exact breadth and experience that the role demands. Councillor Marshall possesses a rare combination of fair mindsedness with a genuine respect to the democratic process. Our district faces a critical year ahead with the approach of local government reorganisation. And to navigate this year, our chamber needs a chairman who has a steady hand, maintain strict cross-party decorum, and ensures that every single member has a fair and opportunity to speak. However, if elected, and I sincerely hope he is, we all need to improve our understanding of the English language as we know it. And we have the breadth of knowledge of the words rarely spoken today by us. But as Tom has eloquently spoken these words of the English language. So to keep up, we may need a lesson from a very man who would have been in these chambers when it was part of the Lichfield Grammar School for Boys, our very own Dr. Samuel Johnson. So to conclude, I have total confidence that he will represent the Lichfield District Council with the highest level of dignity, impartiality and integrity. And this will be supported absolutely now by his partner Jane, who I know as long as I've known Tom, and I absolutely support Jane coming ahead. So I firmly move that Councillor Thomas Marshall to the election of Chairman of the Council. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Cox. Do I have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Checkland.
Thank you, Chair. Could be said about Councillor Marshall in words we can all understand. He has an excellent command of the English language, as I suspect we will see during his tenure as chair if elected. He's the current chair of Armitage and Handsacre Parish Council and has a plethora of experience across the District Council, last year serving on planning, overview and scrutiny and audit, invariably making telling observation. As chair of planning, he was frequently able to keep the meetings to under 3.5 hours. I'm sure his experience of policy, procedure and standing orders will aid this council as it hopefully discusses the matter we're actually supposed to be discussing. As it continues to rise from 13th place, best place to live in Britain, and the second best place to live in the whole of the West Midlands region. I'm therefore happy to second Councillor Marshall and his sesquipedalian approach for the position of chair of this council.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Checkland. Does anybody else want to speak for Councillor Marshall? Do we have any other nominations? In that case, can we proceed to a vote that Tom Marshall be elected, Councillor Tom Marshall be elected as the next chair of Lichfield District Council? All those in favour, please show hands.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, any against? Any abstentions? Right. In that case, I duly declare that Councillor Tom Marshall has been elected as the new chair. And can I be the first to say congratulations? Can I just ask you, Tom, do you want me to move my car now? Or are you happy if I do it later? I think I've got to.
So I'm
got to take my chain off at this stage.
Don't worry. I did rehearse that earlier. I knew how embarrassing that would be.
And for the moment, can you stand there because I won't be able to reach otherwise.
Went on a lot easier, didn't it? Thank you. Keith.
Well,
thank you very much indeed.
So
Thank you. Thank you. That's very kind of you.
Fantastic.
And congratulations on your wonderful year.
Oh, thank you. Is that everything I've got? I'll start the hard bit, Tom.
Yeah, that's. Thank you. Thank you. I stand up to do this. Do I stand up for it? Yeah. It's here. No, it's here. Yeah. So, good evening, everyone. I, Thomas Marshall, having been elected to the office of Chair of the Lichfield District Council, declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to be guided by the Lichfield District Council members' code of conduct in the performance of my functions in that office. Thank you, Mark. Thank you very much. Right, now it says here the newly elected chair and consort to be invested with their chains of office. I already have been invested with my chain of office. So I think we're slightly, sorry, and Jane is, and yeah. So I now hand over to. Councillors, my consort for the year is my partner, Jane Farrow. And thank you very much there to Jill for handing over the chain of office, which you have worn, I think, with great dignity over the last 12 months, Jill. And you've done a superb job and in your support of Keith. Thank you. So we now move on to the, Keith, you've returned to your chair. I take it? Yeah. I certainly will. Yeah. So, councillors and officers, can I say what a privilege this is to be sitting in this chair as chair or chairman, as I tend to refer to it, but chair of this council. I'd like to thank you all for voting for me and for those who did not vote against me. I took that as a positive, actually. When I saw that number of abstentions, that was very reassuring, I have to say. Because an abstention is almost, it's 90% there as a vote of confidence. Or at least that was my interpretation of it. Thank you. The officers must not go unmentioned because they work assiduously throughout the year. And without their support and without their enormous help and guidance, I don't think a lot of us could do our jobs with any great deal of success. And I think the officers are often the unsung heroes. And I would like to put on record the fact that they're always here to guide us. And I, this evening, am extremely grateful for the fact that I have Mark Hooper by my side, because I know that he will not allow me to make too many mistakes. I listened to the music that was played by the outgoing chairman. And of course, that was Louis Armstrong's Satchmo. And what a wonderful world. Well, of course, his other big hit was We Have All the Time in the World. So I thought that this meeting could probably go on till the early hours of the morning. And don't worry. No. I did promise one of the councillors that the meeting would be a fairly brief one this evening, and so I'm going to try and keep my word. So once again, members, thank you very much indeed for voting for me. And I look forward to being the chairman of this council for the next 12 months. And it is a great honour which you have granted me. Thank you. Yes. Yeah.
So the word chair should be used rather than chairman. So please respect the views of the whole council. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Councillor Woodward. So we now move on then, if we may, to I'm going to give a vote of thanks to the outgoing chairman now. Sorry, forgive me. Old habits die hard. We're now going to give a vote of thanks for the outgoing chair. And I think there may be some of you who wish to add your comments to this as well. Can I just say that I have had the very good fortune to have followed in the steps of our outgoing chair, Keith Vernon, Councillor Keith Vernon, who has attended an enormous number of events. And Jane and I have also attended quite a few as well, but nothing like as many as the outgoing chair and also his consort. I've been in their company on many occasions. Can I just say that they have conducted themselves in a way which I can only hope to emulate. Whether I do or not, of course, in 12 months' time, you will have a chance to judge. But I think that of all the chair that I've worked with over the years, it's true to say that Councillor Vernon has been exemplary in everything that he has done. He has been quite punctilious, and his behaviour at all times, I think, has been a credit to this council. And I'd like to report that to you because I've actually been with him on very many occasions and enjoyed every moment of it. And he's been absolutely wonderful and a very, very good figurehead, I have to say, for Lichfield District Council. Now, there may be others of you now, I think, who wish to say something in support of what I have just said about the outgoing chair. So if anyone wishes to say anything, please raise your hand. Right, so, okay. I'll come to Councillor Pullen first, the leader, Councillor Pullen, please.
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to be the first to congratulate you, or the second, I think, to congratulate you on your role as Chair. And just really to say a huge thank you to Councillor Vernon. I think he led and chaired this council with the due regard to the independence that the Chair requires. I know that Keith brought something different to the chamber in many different ways, and I know we all appreciate that. And I was just looking through the Chair's announcements, the £10,000 raised for Liberty Jamboree, which I think fundamentally is what the Chair role outside of this chamber is about, raising awareness and funds for the fantastic that exists as well, for the fantastic way that you have led this council and in the face of it. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Pullen. Councillor Sylvester Hall, please.
Thank you very much, Chair, and congratulations on your new role. I rise to also give thanks to our outgoing Chair, Councillor Vernon. When you read through the list of all the things that the Chair does, it really does give you an insight of the amount of commitment and dedication that needs to take place. And certainly on the events that I've attended and been in the company of Councillor Vernon, and also his consort, Gail, by his side. And one of the things that I wanted to add to in particular is Councillor Vernon's versatility. Councillor Pullen has just mentioned the tremendous amount of money that you've raised for charity over the time that you've been in the chair. But equally, I would like to also commend you for your performance that you did at the Garrick Theatre. So not least has he been able to chair what we've been on each of our council meetings, but the fact that you stood up in front of all of those people and sang your heart out was absolutely wonderful. It was a pleasure to be there, and certainly congratulating you on a successful term of office.
Sorry. Councillor Braga. Thank you very much, Councillor Sylvester Hall. Councillor Braga, please.
Thank you, Chair, and obviously congratulations on your role for this year. I'd just briefly like to say two things to Councillor Vernon for chairing last year. I know there's many things he's done, but I really appreciated the prayers and the variety and inclusion that we had at the beginning of the meeting. I thought that was excellent. And of course, as others have said, the work for Liberty Jamboree. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Braga. I think the next one to speak is probably Councillor Ray, please.
Yes, thank you, Chair, and congratulations on your appointment. And just a few short words to say to Councillor Vernon and his consort, Jill. Thank you for what you've done over the last year and your commitment to this district and the residents. It's a big role being the chairman. It takes a big part of your life, and you've really shown great energy and commitment to it. And I just want to also acknowledge the amount that you've raised for charities. Thank you.
Councillor Ray, thank you very much indeed. And can I just add as well that I was absolutely amazed when I heard how much the outgoing chair had raised. I think that was a fantastic figure, and I think proves that you worked incredibly hard as well. So congratulations there. It actually creates a very high bar for me, because I'm just wondering how I'm going to emulate what the outgoing chair has achieved over the 12 months. I've worked it out. I've got to raise over £800 every single month. And I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do that, but I will try. But yes, once again, my congratulations as well. Do we have any other members wishing to speak, please? Okay, so Councillor Hughes, please.
Yeah, as a former chair, but also as the deputy leader of Lichfield City Council, that has a lot of civic events that Councillor Vernon and Jill have attended very dutifully. I would like to say I'm also awestruck about how much money raised. That's one thing I was absolutely hopeless of, but I can't sing. And I just also like to say, not just the concert at the Garrick, but no one who went to the St George's Day celebration for Lichfield City Council will ever forget Councillor Vernon singing They'll Always Be in England.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hughes. And I think what's very evident is the fact that Councillor Vernon's year as chair will be very well remembered for all sorts of reasons, not least, of course, his singing ability. Thank you. Any other members wishing to speak, please? Okay, so thanks are then given by the outgoing chair. So Keith, I think you thought that your time had finished, but actually you've still got one duty, haven't you? You've got to give thanks as the outgoing chair. Can I just say that before I came into this chamber, Keith or Councillor Vernon made me feel very, very uneasy when he said that all political careers end in failure. I really hope that I'm not living proof of that adage.
I don't know what to say, because thank you so much for the comments that you've made. You always question yourself and wonder if you're doing things right, and if what you are doing people enjoy. And so grateful for those comments about the multi-faith prayers and all the rest of the comments as well. So basically, I would like to say thank you. Well, first of all, to Jill for being my consort. She's been brilliant. Thank you. And thank you to Tom, my vice chair. I always felt so guilty that I was being greedy and going to all the events. But I remembered Tom saying he would take on the job of vice chair because he didn't have time to do anything, and Jane would kill him if he took on anything else. So he told me he wasn't bothered about not giving up some of my events. and he did everything he could. But again, I couldn't have done it without Tom's support. So thank you, Tom. Thank you. And thank you to all of you for supporting me. Now, I know that when it comes to the vote, that some of you didn't vote for me, but that is democracy. You have the right not to vote for me. But democracy says that you should support the person elected, irrespective of whether you voted for them or not. And I have to say to this side, thank you so much for supporting me, because you didn't give me too much of a hard time in the chair. And you were quite gentle, really, when I got it all wrong. So thank you very much. And one thing I did say previously about us being the Council of the Year, that is one thing we can say forevermore. We were councillors when Lichfield District Council won the Councillor of the Year award. We can boast about that forever and ever. But we didn't do it on our own. And Tom has already mentioned one section of the council, and that is the council, or are the council officers. The council officers are absolutely brilliant, and we owe them a lot. They guide us, and in effect, they're the civil servants of Parliament who guide us, and we rubber stamp and make decisions on their recommendations. So we should thank them as well. And I shouldn't single out any person, but I'm going to, because there's one person that I could not have done this job without. And she's actually here. She's not hiding away behind the screen. And that's you, Leslie. She has mothered me throughout the year. She has told me where, when, and what time. And all I had to do was get scrubbed up and be waiting for the driver. I could not have done it without Leslie. So she ceased to be a council officer and she became a dear friend. So thank you, Leslie. And I'll... So basically, thank you to everybody, and that's me finished. I'll take my seat on the back bench.
Thank you very much indeed. And I think that concludes an extremely impressive year in office. And thank you very much once again for all that you've done. Can I also add my thanks to Leslie as well? Leslie has always been on the end of the phone. She's always responded to emails, and her organisational skills are second to none. And without her, along with all the other officers, this job would be made not just difficult, but impossible. We now move on to agenda item 4. And once again, thank you very much there to the outgoing chair. Agenda item number 4 is the minutes of the last, excuse me, minutes of the last meeting, members. Can I take the minutes of the meeting held on the 14th of April, 2026 as the correct record? Thank you very much. Okay. I see no raised hands. I take the minutes as approved, subject to any amendments made, which of course have not been the case. Agenda item number 5 is a very important part of this evening's agenda, and this is the election of a vice chair of this council for the ensuing year. Could I please ask members for nominations then for the position of vice chair? Thank you very much. Councillor Ray.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to propose Councillor Andrew Rushton to be Vice Chair of this Council. I really feel he would be excellent and perform excellent in this role in representing the Council. And I say that for various reasons. He has been the Vice Chair before of this Council, and he performed strongly in that role before. Andrew is a hard-working ward councillor, and he works collaboratively. In his ward, he has a Conservative and he has a Labour councillor, co-councillor, and he works collaboratively with them to get things done for the residents of that ward. He is articulate, he's passionate, and he was brought up in this district. And in he's passionate about representing the interests of our residents, in particular our young residents, and that's really important because this is a council for everybody. So in that, with regards to looking at representing the interests of our young residents, Andrew is on a national committee of the Young Liberals within the Liberal Democrats. Andrew works for the King's Trust, which is one of the largest charities in the country for young people from disadvantaged backgrounds, giving them help in building skills and helping founding and starting businesses. And he has supported initiatives of this council, like the Young Voices Forum, to help this council engage with young people. Finally, having Andrew, Councillor Rushton, as a young councillor, as the vice chair of this council, and then chair next year, would be great for the profile of this council. It visibly shows that this is a council for everybody in our district. I urge all councillors to support Councillor Rushton as vice chair of Lichfield District Council.
Councillor Ray, thank you very much. Councillor Bragg, you wish to speak? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I've got great pleasure in seconding the nomination for Councillor Andrew Rushton. He has the support of the Labour group. He's passionate about ecology and climate change politics. He believes in giving opportunities to people from all communities and all walks of life, particularly young people in need of a little bit of extra help. I'm sure that Councillor Rushton will represent this council with enthusiasm and diligence whenever he deputises for you, Councillor Marshall. I second Councillor Andrew Rushton.
Thank you very much, Councillor Bragg, for that. Do we have any other nominations, members, please? I can see that we don't. In that case, then, we have Councillor Andrew Rushton, proposed by Councillor Ray and seconded by Councillor Bragg. Could I have a show of hands, please? All of those in favour of Councillor Rushton? As goodness me, he's obviously a lot more popular than I am. I wonder whether we ought to reverse roles, actually. Thank you very much. I think that's unanimous. I think that's yeah. That's unanimous. Yeah, thank you. Yes, I think as popularity contests go, I've just come a very poor second. So congratulations there to Councillor Rushton. So I declare Councillor Andrew Rushton duly appointed Vice Chair for the ensuing year. Right. Have you? Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Anne.
Thank you, Chair. I, Andrew Rushton, having been elected to the office of Vice Chair of Lichfield District Council, declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to be guided by the Lichfield District Council members' code of conduct in the performance of my functions in that office.
Right. So we now need to invest you, Councillor Rushton, with your chain of office. Awesome.
Thank you, Chair, and congratulations on your appointment as well.
Thank you.
I'm having a very strange sense of deja vu standing up here, but thank you to everybody for putting their faith in me for holding this office, particularly at a time where civic roles have an uncertain future. as part of local government reform. Thank you to Councillor Ray and Councillor Braga for the proposal and seconding. I look forward to the year ahead and supporting you, Chair, and representing Lichfield District Council across the county. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. So there's a vote of thanks proposed to the outgoing Vice Chair, which, yeah. Okay, so we'll now move on to agenda item number 6, members. So the first thing on this list is my chaplain for the year. Can I just say, I think we've all enjoyed enormously and found it very uplifting to witness the very eclectic mix that the outgoing chair has given us this last 12 months. We've had various faiths represented, all giving a very, very good, I think, sort of outline and critique of their religion. And I think it's very interesting to get different perspectives on the subject of religion as well. And I think that the last homily that we had from the outgoing chair was very interesting as well. And it was even signed off with a lovely track from Satchmo, of course, which we'll all remember. The chaplain for the year, I haven't yet come to that because I didn't want it to be a foregone conclusion that I was going to be elected tonight. And I realised that it's not good to count your chickens before they're hatched. So I haven't got a chaplain, but I will certainly have one in preparation for the next meeting. My civic service will be organised in the near future and details will be forthcoming. And for this, of course, I shall be relying very heavily upon the services of the already mentioned Leslie Bennett. And Leslie, you always come up trumps, and I know that you will keep me well informed and that we will come to a mutual arrangement, which hopefully will be well attended by as many members as possible. So my charity for this year, and we've already mentioned charities and the very fact that the outgoing chair raised over £10,000, which was commendable in the extreme. My charity for this year, I thought long and hard about this. And of course, there are so many good causes. You look at charities all over the place and they all demand support or deserve support. But I think I've gone for one which is very central to our lives here in the Lichfield district, not just Lichfield City, but Lichfield district. And they perform a service which I think is valued and appreciated all over the district, and also similar hospices around the country are all desperate for support. So my charity this year will be St Giles Hospice at Whittington. And I hope that you'll all support that, because many of us will have had relatives and friends who have used the invaluable services offered by St Giles Hospice. And it's a charity, like so many, which relies very, very heavily upon public support. And I hope that as a council, we will be able to offer support to St Giles Hospice during the forthcoming year. Chair's announcements also, I need to tell you that someone who may not be familiar with many of you, perhaps some of those who've been members of this council for even longer than I have, may remember the name Alan Clark. Alan Clark sadly passed away a few 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he was a very loyal servant of this council between 1987 and 1995. So he served 2 terms with this council, district council. Alan Clark will be missed. He was a member for Armitage with Handsacre, and I think it's only fitting that I mention the fact that he's no longer with us. But we are very grateful for the service which he gave during those 8 years in the particular ward to which Councillor Cox, Councillor Punya, and I still serve. Any other announcements I have to make, I think probably would be unnecessary at this stage. But I once again just wish to thank you all. Well, not all, but half of you. Half of you. No, honestly, thank you very much indeed. I greatly appreciate the support of you all for allowing me this very, very privileged position. Thank you. We're now moving on to item agenda is number 7, report of the leader of the council on cabinet decisions and cabinet member decisions. I shall now hand over to the leader, Councillor Pullen. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and Councillor Rushton, I'm going to congratulate you on your second chance at being Vice Chair of the Council. I'm sure you continue to do a brilliant job as you did previously. Chair, this is the report of the Leader of the Council relating to Cabinet on the 12th of May and Cabinet member decisions. Firstly, Cabinet from the 12th of May 2026. Number 1, the local plan update.
Mr. Braga, please.
Thank you, Chair. I do have grave concerns about this cabinet decision. I didn't expect to use my new power as leader of the principal opposition to call in decisions very often. It's not always the best way to challenge decisions, but found it was needed in the first few days in my position. To let councillors know, I've called in this decision for more questions and information because it will have repercussions across residents across Lichfield, Burntwood and all over the district. Although the current plan is still in existence, it needs replacing to reflect the current housing targets and other changes. Without a compliant plan, developers could have the upper hand where new housing will go. The Labour Group are supportive of much needed new homes, particularly social and affordable homes for our communities, but they need to be in the right places. Abandoning the second attempt at writing a local plan for a third process poses great risk because it can take 30 months, while this council would probably only exist for the next 23 months. That seems reckless. Who knows who will control the successor council and what its priorities will be? I think we as councillors across the chamber need to better understand a few questions. Why the current process is at risk of not being completed by the end of the year? What constraints on planning officers and the planning committee, what constraints there will be while the new process in producing a plan up to the end of possibly of 2028, and what effects will be on our communities where we might have less say where new developments are being built. I have colleagues in the Labour Group who have further questions, but I ask for more information, that more information is shared with councillors. I've watched the cabinet meeting on YouTube and feel that we do not have all the answers. It is an important decision for the council and needs more examination.
Thank you, Councillor Braga. Do you wish to respond, please, Councillor Pullen?
Yeah, thank you. And probably perhaps not for great debate this evening. I'm appreciating that Councillor Braga has exercised his right as leader of the principal opposition to call that decision in, and obviously it will come back through cabinet. I think what I'd say tonight is I'm glad you mentioned the housing targets. That is precisely why the local planning is being delayed. We had a 9-year housing supply in Lichfield District Council until the newly elected Labour government decided to treble our housing target from 250 to 750 houses a year. That has added an enormous amount of strain to our local plan making capabilities. We now need to find where we're going to put these houses. Whether or not you can make arguments about whether those houses are needed or not, but the reality is that where urban conurbations adjacent to Lichfield, like Birmingham, have had their housing numbers reduced, the Labour government has decided to increase the housing in Lichfield District. We now have to find places for more than 750 houses a year for the next 10 years. Do we want to continue seeing urban sprawl? No. Our residents tell us time and time again, we simply don't want that. That means we do need to look for new settlements. New settlements necessarily take longer to work out how the infrastructure is going to come first. How are we going to put all the things in place that our residents tell us they want should be in place before new developments take place? Of course, the 5-year land supply doesn't help for that either. I think we'd all recognise 5-year land supply actually gives us some great challenges when we're trying to plan for the future. That was a principle that was abolished by the previous government, has been reinstated by this current government now. And that gives us two problems. Not only do we have to build 750 a year, but we also need to show how we're going to build them over the next 5 years. That is not a simple thing to do. Now, if we want to carry on with urban expansion and we carry on building around all of the urban conurbation, fine, we could go ahead with the current. We don't want to do that. So as well as having that challenge and trebling our housing target, I think any sensible person would see why we've had to take a slightly different route, a route that was made available to us, funnily enough, by the incoming government, of a much speedier way of pushing a local plan through, but actually that focuses on what our residents want, which is new settlements, where infrastructure necessarily has to come first. It is difficult, it is expensive, but I would gently say to Councillor Braggett, perhaps this is the unintended consequence of supporting a government who wants to put housing in rural shires like Lichfield and not in places like Birmingham.
Councillor Pullen, thank you very much for your response. Could I now call upon Councillor Ray, please?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I also share concerns about the extension, and Councillor Farrell is aware of those concerns, and therefore I'm supportive of the call-in by Councillor Braggett. Just a couple of key, I'd be interested in obtaining this further information, but couple of key risks that I've liaised with Councillor Farrell on are the risk that we lose control with developer applications coming forward during that 30-year period, and also we then go into our new unitary authority without a LDC local plan in place. Just that seems to be some important risks there, and therefore we really need to fully investigate and consider in detail this decision.
Thank you, Councillor Ray. Did you wish to respond to that at all? No. Okay. Councillor Bennion next. No, Councillor Hughes, I'll come on to you in a moment. I've got Councillor Bennion next, please. Thank you.
Yes. I certainly understand why this proposal has come, and Councillor Pullen has already gone into that. The extreme increase in the number of housing has caused us problems that we couldn't have envisaged 2 or 3 years ago. However, we'd known this for 18 months, even given the time that it took to go through the appeal. We've known this really for about nearly 18 months now. So I do question as to why these studies, these infrastructure studies, weren't started 18 months ago. I have discussed this with some of my parish councils. They do understand that there is a risk then of sort of rogue applications coming forward, but I would guess that we are probably robust enough to be able to turn down applications that come for speculative applications that are really unsustainable. But the view from my parishes was that the risk of actually going ahead with a plan without the infrastructure studies even worse. So on balance, we are where we are, not where we would like to be. And in that respect, I understand why the infrastructure studies are required. But it would be, I think, wrong-headed to go ahead with a plan and then find out the infrastructure required for the housing we're planning could not actually deliver, or certainly not with reasonable expense. So I understand where we are. I do support the call-in because I think this is something that needs a little bit more exploration. But I also understand why we've got to where we are, but I think we should have started this process 18 months ago.
Thank you, Councillor Bennion. Do you wish to respond at all? Okay, Councillor Hughes next, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to speak as a member of the Labour group, but also as a member of a long-standing-ish member of the Planning Committee. I think we have to remember this is the second time. I'm a one-term councillor, and I've seen twice this council has aborted a local plan at a reasonably late stage and at extreme expense. And they're now able to, they claim, to blame the Labour government and its proposals to tackle a long-standing housing crisis by, it seems to me, as a alibi simply for their own failure to produce fulfill one of the basic responsibilities of a council. Which 3 years ago, the the explanation for changing the last was because we wanted to focus on new settlements rather than what is called urban sprawl. I do have to say that, you know, one woman's urban sprawl is another woman's access to good dinner cafes, but we've had plenty of time to think about new settlements, and at this very late stage to say we haven't got there, I think we certainly need more information on that, on how that happens. It's true that in the planning committee we are constrained by the lack of the 5-year house demand, but as Councillor Benyon said, we've known about the housing probably for 2 years, because Labour's housing policy was so secret and seems to me to be entirely valuable. We've certainly known about it for 18 years. The notion that it is clear from sitting on a planning committee that our capacity to oppose new developments is limited in 2 ways. One is the housing supply, but the other is the fact that we have a very old, not very relevant local plan. There is ample, in the new planning arrangement, there is ample provision for making sure that housing happens where we want it and in the ways that we want it. It is almost certain that we will go into new authority and we haven't got 30 months plus the absolute time to give notice that's what we're doing. And so more housing is a good thing. It has to be in the right place. And we need a planning committee that has a proper local plan to work with. We're not going to have that serious for this council. So I think we need, this is 3rd time lucky. That's what we're being asked for. Let's try again and we might get it right this time. We certainly need a call in and great scrutiny about how it's happened and how we go forward. And so I support the call.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hughes. Councillor Ennis, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chair. When I first got elected, I was on the first local plan committee, where there was a committee of councillors with officers. We went round, we discussed it, and we created a plan. I understood at that point the rationale to remove it, but then again, the process could have started properly then, and there seems to have been a big delay between the end of the first try to the second try to coming up now to a 3rd try. And I think the big concerns, and Councillor Pullen, you mentioned a couple of things that I just thought, well, come on, you're trying it on a little bit here. So you're blaming the Labour government for the housing issue that we've got at the moment. How many housing targets were hit the 14 previous years? How about those? Because we would have been in a more sensible place if the previous government actually hit the target that they were supposed to. And secondly, you're talking about the new government that come in and the increase in targets. Well, how about if we just done our local plan quicker in a sensible time frame? When it was the previous targets, we'd have one in place and therefore we wouldn't hit this issue that we've got now. So it's easy to pass blame around, but realistically, the answer is our residents deserve a good plan. I think we need more input into that plan, not just officers going to the cabinet. I think councillors around this table should be given a chance to ask pertinent questions on why did it take so long? Why does it cost so much? Why are we where we are now? And then let's get a plan in place and quickly. I don't think they're hard questions, but I just don't think blaming previous councils are the right way to do it in previous governments, because we've all made mistakes and I think we all have to take ownership to that. This council's job is to get that right, and I think that's where we need to be now, and I think calling this in was the right thing to do so we could ask those correct questions. Thank you.
Councillor Ennis, thank you very much. Councillor Pullen, did you wish to respond to any of the points which have been made? Thank you. Councillor Ball, please.
Thank you, Chair, and let me congratulate you on your election to that position. Just following on from what Councillor Ennis had just said, when I was first elected in 2018, we had a local plan subcommittee of the Overview and Scrutiny Committee that worked extremely hard to develop ideas on a cross-party basis. That hasn't happened with this plan. Perhaps it would have been better had that been in place. And the fact that it's simply been driven by what's generally a boys' club, with a notable exception of Councillor Sylvester Hall, who's the only one who, in my view, having viewed the cabinet discussion, was asking pertinent questions. None of which, sadly, I thought were properly answered. I do understand that Councillor Farrell had a bereavement, for which he has my sincere condolences, and he may not have been on top form that evening. So I respect that and understand that. And I've already given my condolences privately, but I give them publicly now. But I do think we need to call this in so we can have a proper debate and not try and do party political sniping. Certainly not an overview and scrutiny that would happen. But here tonight, I can take the opportunity of blaming the previous government for 14 years of neglect of housing, particularly genuinely affordable social housing, which has been appalling in this district. We've got currently approaching 600 people on our housing register, and from 2019 to 2025, we delivered as a council less than 1,000 affordable homes, and many of those were shared ownership. So those 600 people on that waiting list are going to have to wait a very long time unless we can get our act together and get this moving forward much more quickly. There's a desperate housing need in Lichfield, particularly of genuinely affordable housing, and we should have recognised that years ago and acted on it more urgently than we have.
Thank you, Councillor Ball. Any other members wish to speak on this? Councillor Pullen, did you wish to respond to any of the points which have been made? Thank you.
I'll try. Yeah, thank you. I think, yeah, clearly it's been called in. Absolutely no issue with this being called in. I think that's obviously the right thing for this to be done. It will get a good airing at some point in the future. I think just a couple of points to make. The local plan has not been aborted. It's going on a different timeline, but the evidence base that has been collated and has been collated for quite some time now will still go ahead and form part of that local plan. This is not about starting again or changing it. It's deciding that actually the evidence base required needs some more work doing to it before we can take it forward for examination. The reason that examination, or the reason the evidence base needs more work doing, is because over the next 10 years, we've gone from needing 2,500 homes, absolutely in new settlements, which is where the priorities were. How do we find 2,500 homes in new settlements? Overnight, we then had to find 7,500 homes in new settlements over the exact same period. And take politics out of it, but that's just the reality. The number has trebled. You can make the arguments for that or against it. I know Councillor Hughes says more housing is a good thing. Be interesting to see if that appears on your election leaflets. The reality is that actually we have had to treble our new housing number over a decade. We want to do that in new settlements. We want to honour our residents' wishes by not creating urban sprawl. The point was made about whether this authority will actually have a made local plan by the time we no longer exist. This will absolutely be in examination. There'll be an examination by the time we disappear as a council. I hope that means that what we have done is actually locked that in, and that actually that will follow and bind for authority. Obviously, we'll be working towards that. Just one final point, and it's around loss of control. Absolutely, we lose control around speculative development when we don't have a local plan which gives us a 5-year house. That, and this is not a party political point, because I think both, we're all parties in the chamber have either been for or against it at some point over the last decade or so. The 5-year housing supply creates real problems for us, local councillors. And that is the thing where we've lost control. We had a 9-year housing supply in 2024. A new government came. Doesn't matter which, what party that government is. Overnight, we suddenly had a 3.5-year supply. We can't argue with that. That's when we lost control, because all of a sudden we no longer had a 5-year housing supply. That's what leads to spec. That's what leads developers to be putting in so many plans. And that is just, again, like it or not, the new direction of the government is giving developers free rein to put in lots and lots and lots of planning applications, speculative applications up and down the country, including in Lichfield. So I don't think we ought to be taking any lectures from anyone around where we're losing control. It is what it is. The government has said what their policy was. We need to live by it. But what we're attempting to do here is make sure that we respect our residents' wishes by ensuring those houses in the right place in new settlements. Clearly, it's given a bit more work to do, and I look forward to hopefully further in-depth debates during the calling process as well. Thank you, Chair. Number 2, Lichfield City Centre Design Code. Number 3, Blueprint for Burntwood, including lots more houses.
Councillor Norman, please, and then Councillor Woodward. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Congratulations to your office. It's just a simple question, which I hope you can help me with in case I've imagined it. But can the leader confirm that before May 2024, Burntwood Leisure Centre was built, the National Memorial Arboretum was built, and Lichfield Leisure Centre was built before May 2024? Just want confirmation of that. Might share with us at some point in the future. Yeah,
That is not correct, no.
What did you say?
Leisure Centre.
Lichfield Leisure Centre opened this year, Councillor Norman.
No, I'll start again. For May, Chair, can you confirm that before May 2024, Burntwood Leisure Centre was built, National Memorial Arboretum was built, and the Leisure Centre was built, even if the blueprint wasn't done? Oh, I don't know why bother.
Councillor Pullen, did you wish to respond to that or no?
I don't know if I understand the question correctly. The National Memorial Arboretum was built. Burntwood Leisure Centre was built. Lichfield Leisure Centre wasn't built. That opened this year. Okay.
I think I've got a feeling that it's just celebrated 25 years, hasn't it, the NMA? I believe it has, yeah. So, okay. You need to blueprint for Burntwood. Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon. Councillor Woodward, I do beg your pardon, Councillor Woodward.
Thank you, Chair. Can I congratulate you and Councillor Rushton on your elevation, your magnification, your aggrandizement. I'll check other words that are available in the thesaurus, but I very much welcome the fact that we've now got this blueprint for Burntwood. It's been a long time coming, not just the 2 years that we've waited when the budget was allocated for this, but I think the import of Councillor Norman's question was, can we get on with this and make sure it happens quickly? And I want to see that. Former Councillor Dave Robertson, now our Member of Parliament, and I thought long and hard about what to call our demand for some sort of master plan for Burntwood. And we tried very hard not to use the word blue, but in the end, we decided Blueprint for Burntwood would be a good one as a project name. I should have copyrighted it at the time, but can the chair just indulge me a moment? He'll know I'm stepping down as opposition leader today, and it wasn't Councillor Bragg's fault that I've been relegated to the back of the chamber. It's just that there are so many people around that in a horseshoe now. It's just ridiculous. But I'm stepping down, so this couldn't be more timely, because this has been a focus for my work in politics for well over 20 years. And we started with collective discussions around various committee tables. We moved on to a town deal project, which had some success, but not great success. But it couldn't be more timely. And I want to just raise some of the successes we've had over the past 3 years, not least the motions that set up the possibility of a food partnership, which is very successful and bringing a lot of relief to people across our district, and the Violence Against Women and Girls Action Plan. This, though, is the icing on the cake for me. I'm grateful to the Cabinet members who commended Burntwood councillors for the work that they've done. Can I say, Councillor Holland, you don't know half of it. You don't know half of it. It's taken a great deal of patience, pushing, perseverance, and I'm glad to see it's here. What we do need now is an assurance that things will move very quickly. If you'll further indulge me, Chair, can I just add thanks to my team of Labour councillors who've supported me throughout the last 3 years. They've been very supportive, and I'm grateful for the work that they've done. As I popped out earlier on, I noticed there's a poster on the wall in the lobby that talks about teamwork, and it's a quotation from Emerson on teamwork, and it says, "No member of the crew was ever commended on the rugged individuality of his rowing." And I think that's an important point to remember, that we act as a team, not just as a Labour opposition team, but act as a team across the whole council. Chair, you said earlier on that all political careers end in failure. I don't think I've ended in failure. I think I've ended on a high. So thank you very much.
Councillor Woodward, of course, there is always an exception to prove the rule, and you're obviously living proof of that. Can I also commend you on your very impressive list of synonyms for the principle of promotion as well? I'm sure you have plenty more, but they can come later if you insist. Councillor Pullen, do you need any more speakers on that? I don't think there are. Councillor Pullen, please.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Councillor Woodward, and perhaps an opportune time for me to say thank you for the work that you've done leading the Labour Group so well over the last few years. It's been an absolute delight to work with you most of the time. And whilst I know collegiate working is the kind of the phrase of the day, sometimes it's felt like I've been put on the naughty step and told very firmly that I was not working collegiately, but it genuinely has been an absolute pleasure working with you. I think for over a decade now, but certainly the last few years here at Lichfield District Council. I mean, your role as leader of the opposition. I know that Councillor Bragger's got very large shoes to fill. I'm sure he'll do a brilliant job, of course, but it has genuinely been an absolute pleasure to work with you as you seek the best interests of your residents, the residents across Lichfield District. Moving on to Cabinet Member decisions, Chair. Number 4, Public Space Protection Order, fishing at Stow Pool.
Councillor Ashton, sorry. Yes, Councillor Ashton. I think, did I see somebody else's hand go up as well? Or was it just Councillor Ashton? Councillor Ashton, please.
Thank you, Chair, and congratulations. I'd just like to thank the Cabinet for this Stow Pool thing. It's been a bone of contention, not only from the residents near Stow Pool, which includes me, but also amongst the Parks group, the Friends of Lichfield Historic Parks. It's been on the agenda for about 18 months, and I'm very glad to see that it's finally been resolved. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Ashton. Can I just say as well, following on, Councillor Ray, before I say anything, Councillor Ray, please.
Yeah, I didn't quite know when to say this, but I just wanted to say a few words about Councillor Woodward and her role in stepping down as principal leader of the principal opposition. Just to say thank you for your commitment to this council over recent period. I don't think you'll be slowing down too much, know you, as I do. And we've worked together on various initiatives, and I've really appreciated the collaboration, which I think has been for the good of this council. So that's been very much appreciated. And I just, in that vein, wish Councillor Bragger the very best. Big shoes to fill, has been said, and look forward to continuing collaboration between our respective groups. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Councillor Ray. Can I just reiterate what you've just said as well in terms of Councillor Woodward? You have served this council as the leader of the opposition with absolute credit, and I also congratulate you. And I too wish the new incumbent, Councillor Bragger, well in his endeavours. Thank you very much. Councillor Puller, I think that concluded your report to the leader of the council on cabinet decisions and cabinet member decisions. Thank you very much. We now move on, members, to agenda item 8. This is the minutes of the Overview and Scrutiny Committee. And for this, can I call upon Councillor Norman, please?
Thank you, Chair. Although we haven't got to agenda item 13 yet, can I just welcome Councillor Vernon to the Overview and Scrutiny Committee, and I hope he has lots of good questions for the job that he'll have to do, cross-examining the cabinet, cross-examining officers for that matter, and cross-examining others. So I welcome you to the committee there. Can I just also give him a tip, if you just indulge me for a second? If you want a spiritual experience, then I suggest you go to the top of Cadair Idris in Snowdonia, just above the clouds, to get a Brocken spectre around you. That is a spiritual experience. And so is any Shakespeare play or a Beethoven Lake Quartet. But thank you, Chair. I move that the proceedings of the meetings held on the 21st of April 2026 be received.
Thank you, Councillor Norman. Do we have a seconder, please? Do we have a second, please? Okay, Councillor Hughes. Okay, thank you. I'll forgive you for not standing up, but thank you. No, it's okay. Don't worry. I'm not going to be that much of a pedant. But just remember to stand next time, please. Councillor Norman, can we take the minutes by item number, please?
Thank you. A little tip, everybody. You don't have to be at a meeting to move them or second them. Anyway, present, item 50, minute 54, apologies for absence. Minute 55, declarations of interest. And the last item is 56, the calling of the cabinet decision. Heritage Shopfront Design Code. A lot of bullet points there.
Thank you, Councillor Norman. Members, can we please take the minutes as received, please? Right. Thank you. Thank you. We now move on seamlessly to agenda item 9. This is the minutes of the Planning Committee. And if I may call upon Councillor Chetland, and Councillor Chetland, may I take this opportunity of thanking you for seconding me. And I don't think I actually recognise the fact that Councillor Cox had proposed me. So it's very remiss of me. So if you'll please accept this very late intervention on my part. Thank you to both. Thank you. Councillor Chetland, please.
Thank you, Chair. Move the minutes of the Lichfield District Council planning meetings held on the Monday, the 13th and 27th of April be approved.
Thank you very much, Councillor Chetland. Do we have a seconder, please?
Yes, I'll second it, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Cross. Okay, so we have, first of all, we have Councillor Galvin. I'm so sorry. I was only speaking with you for 10 minutes prior to the meeting. I'm so sorry I forgot your name. Councillor Galvin, please.
Thank you, Chair. Well done. I'm not going to go over some points that we've been made earlier. I'm going to use a big word as well, which I think I've made up, and it's around recently we've seen a footballisation of politics that one side's good and one side's bad. And I've seen recently in the planning committee, and again, this isn't a political point, where people mention that housing targets have changed because of a Labour government. Now, as a Labour councillor, I've faced abuse online, I've faced allegations of being on the take. And I've no doubt that, you know, the populists have wound people up. And as a committee that starts with the sentence that this is an apolitical meeting, why do we insist on blaming one political party who's in power when it was never done before? Now, I said I've faced abuse. Also, Councillor Evans has had a window smashed recently because of the heightened tensions around politics. And I ask that we move away from individual politics and we accept the responsibility of the committee as a whole and not try to blame individuals. That's my point.
Thank you very much, Councillor Galvin. Right, Councillor Taylor, please. Thank you.
Just for accuracy, on the notes on the 27th of April, I am there and not there. I was there.
If we can make sure that's amended, please. Thank you very much indeed. That has been amended. Councillor Ball, I'll come to you in a moment. Councillor Stevenson next, please.
Actually, it's not working. There are actually 3 councillors listed as being absent. They're also listed as being present, councillors Taylor, Hughes and Powell. So just thought we might like to clear that.
I think that's a very valid point. Thank you very much, Councillor Stevenson. Councillor Ball, please.
Thank you, Chair. I've made this point before, but I'm afraid I have to make it again. And I'm not singling out any particular councillors. But again, we've got a councillor declaring an interest because they're a ward member. People serve on the planning committee in a quasi-judicial position representing the council rather than individual wards. And it should only be quite properly in the two cases in these minutes where people were speaking or had tried to influence the decision that they need to declare an interest, not simply because they're a ward member. And I would ask, please, that the chair of the planning committee ensures that that doesn't happen any longer. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Cox.
I echo every word of Councillor Ball. I think it's must be noted that they are not there representing wards, they're representing the district. So they have to, if they're going to have to give their names, just give your council name. It does not mean that you've got to represent your ward. You're not there to represent your ward. Councillor Ball and I are absolutely aligned with this one.
Thank you very much, Councillor Cox. Any other points, please, before we go through the minutes by page number? Okay. So, page 21, page 22. We now move on to the meeting of the 27th of April, page 23. Can we take the minutes as received and adopted, members, please? Thank you. So we now move on to agenda item 10, the minutes of the Audit Committee. And for this, I call upon Councillor Powell, please.
Thank you, Chair. And again, congratulations to you on your promotion.
Thank you.
I move that the proceedings of the Audit Committee meeting held on the 31st of March, 22nd of April, be received and, where necessary, approved and adopted. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Powell. Do we have a seconder, please? We do indeed. Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Thank you.
I will second those, Chair. Thank you.
That's very kind. Thank you, Councillor Taylor. So if we can take those by minute number. 112, apologies for absence. 113, declarations of interest. 114, minutes of the previous meeting. Internal audit plan and charter 2627, that's 115. 116 is the external audit plan, and 117, the work programme. We then move on to the 22nd of April, and that is on page 29. So 118, apologies for absence. 119, declarations of interest. 120 is minutes of the previous meeting, and 121, meeting with managers about outstanding internal audit recommendations. 122 is Lichfield West Midlands Traded Service LWMTS Risk Management Report. And 123 is the Accounting Policies and Estimation Uncertainty. 124, review of the effectiveness of the Audit Committee. And 125, Chair of the Audit Committee's annual report to Council. 126 is Risk Management Update. And that's Councillor Ray, please.
Yes, under 126, I was just concerned about the significant increase in the risk score relating to the cinema from 6 to 16. I'd just like to understand in more detail from the chair the reasons for that and the points that were discussed at the meeting, and whether that is going to impact, that puts at risk the delivery time frame, which is the end of the year, for handing over the cinema to the cinema contractor, being Everyman. So I just like that is alarming. That significant increase in the risk score from 6 to 16. Just like to understand exactly the reasons behind that and the impact on delivery.
Thank you very much, Councillor Ray. Councillor Powell, do you wish to respond to that, please?
Yes, thank you. I will get Anthony to put this into writing so you can understand why it's there and what's happening with it, if that's okay. Thank you.
Again, please.
Yes, Councillor Woodward.
We've asked numerous times that when a chair of a committee or a cabinet member says to the council, I will get back to you, I'll send you a response and so on, that is circulated to all members for clarity, because we're all part of this meeting and part of this council. I hope that will be the case.
Thank you, Councillor Woodward, and I'm sure that Councillor Powell has heard that comment.
Yeah,
and
no problem with that, Chair.
And will respond to it in the appropriate way. Thank you. Moving on, agenda, that was 127 is the annual governance statement. 128, Audit Committee LDC Progress Report and Update, year ended 31st of March 2026. And 129 is the work programme. Thank you. Can we take the minutes as received and adopted, members, please? Thank you very much. Thank you. We now move on to agenda item 11. In your information pack, you will have this, the Audit Committee Annual Report. Can I please call upon Councillor Powell?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Been an interesting year, and I'll reflect that with the report. As Chair of the Audit Committee, I'm pleased to present this annual report outlining the committee's role and summarising our work and achievements during the 2025-26 financial year. This report aims to demonstrate to Lichfield residents, the Council's partners and stakeholders, and particularly Council members, the essential oversight function performed by the Audit Committee and our contribution to the Council's governance arrangements. The past year has been productive for the committee. All of our meetings were webcast and open to public observation. I encourage interested parties to view our proceedings online or attend meetings in person to gain insight into our work. I want to thank the officers and members who have supported the committee's work through their presentation and participation in challenging discussions regarding the Council's risk management, control and governance environment. This year, the committee invited section managers to meetings to discuss internal audit recommendations. I thank those who have attended so far, and we look forward to talking to more managers over the next year. Considered best practice by CIPFA and the LGA and recommended by the Redmond Review, improve the effectiveness of local audit and financial transparency, the committee onboarded an independent member, Ian Ingram, in February 2026. The committee has held 7 meetings during 25-26. The committee maintained consistent attendance of 5 members, albeit 1 meeting was rearranged due to inaccuracy. Questioning from attending members has remained constructive throughout and has benefited from the targeted training officers have provided. There have been no significant areas of concern for the committee to note or report back on, which is reassuring for the Council. Looking ahead to 2025-26, the committee will build upon its established foundations. Thank you.
Councillor Powell, thank you very much. Thank you. Do we have any questions at all? Councillor Ball, please.
It's not a question, Chair, but it refers to page 47, page 5 in the report, the open audit recommendations. That's been reducing significantly. And I have to say, I don't think that's because of the efforts of the committee. I think that's the efforts of the staff team who've worked very hard to achieve that. And I think they should be commended for that.
Indeed, yes, thank you. I think that has the support of the chamber. Thank you very much, Councillor Ball. Councillor Woodward, please.
Thanks, Chair. This is the 3rd point of order I've raised tonight, so I'm on a bit of a roll. But can I ask, is it appropriate for a member to wear a hat inside?
Councillor Woodward, you make a very valid point. In terms of protocol, I'm not quite sure. It is fairly unusual, I think. Over my 23 years, I've rarely seen it, but I don't take exception to it. I don't know what other people think, but I'm very much of the school of live and let live. You may be surprised to hear that, but I am. But I think it looks quite fetching, personally. Yes, Councillor Taylor.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to commend Councillor Powell for his attire this evening. Continuing my attempt last year to sex up the presentation of the audit chair's report, and I commend it.
Thank you very much. I think, Councillor Powell, you can take that. You've had 2 messages of support and 1 against. So, there we go. Councillor Woodward.
Can I withdraw my point of order in view of the fact that it's homage to Councillor Taylor?
Councillor Woodward, that's a very magnanimous gesture, and I'm sure it is greatly appreciated by us all. Thank you. Right, so any other questions for Councillor Powell, apart from why is he wearing a hat? Can we now please move on to agenda item 12, which is membership of cabinet committees, panels and other appointments, including allocation of seats and appointments by political groups. Can I call upon the leader of the council, please?
You can, but I've entirely lost track of where I am and what I'm doing, if I'm totally honest with you.
Agenda item 12.
Chair, I move that the political allocation of seats on committees and panels is as represented on the papers in front of you, and the list of appointments to cabinet committees and panels, which is listed as to follow, but I believe is on everybody's desk. And also to agree to the constitution to be amended to reflect any changes made. And I think that is a to follow as well, but no doubt Mr. Will Stevenson has dealt with that, and it is all in front of us on our desk. So thank you. So that's the membership of cabinet committees, panels and other appointments, including allocation of seats and appointments by political groups. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Councillor Pullen. Do we have a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Smith. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I so second.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Could I have a show of hands, please, for all of those in favour? Oh, question. Sorry, I thought you were in favour there, Councillor. Sorry. Yes, question, please. Councillor Norman.
Yeah, I will be in favour, but I want to congratulate Councillor Stevenson on this new role here as a cabinet member of that portfolio. I think that's quite a clever move there, and I think that would be very useful for the group and therefore Conservative group, and therefore for the council as well. I always want to take this opportunity to say a few words about Councillor Woodward, which is the right place, by the way, but never mind. I was going to say we haven't fallen out and that, but you know, she's ruined that, so forget that. I'll usually make my joke about Councillor Sue Woodward, if that's her real name, but I do that every now and again. I was going to say that she was semi-retired, but that's a bit of another statement now, isn't it, after the intervention she's done, so I can't bother with that either. I do want to say seriously, though, about the fact that I was the leader of the group before her, and it was a small group, and that was a quite different situation from this particular council with a difficult majority, no majority in fact. That's actually difficult. We talked about words before, and there was a fashionable word that kept hearing all the time in politics and elsewhere, which is a dichotomy. Everything was a dichotomy. Well, at least there was more than one. There was a dichotomy. Then we have had existential for so long, as what just drives me mad. And now, of course, we have collegiate, at least in this particular council. But Sue has been very good at that, and Councillor Pullen as well. It takes two to tango, as it were. So I've been impressed by the collegiate working in there, which I perhaps wouldn't have been so good at. And much better at fighting. My nickname at school was Basher, after all, so I could have been working better there. Just to say her qualities, I'm going to go into length about her qualities, but to simply say that various meetings I'd go in the West Midlands and elsewhere with councillors and so on, and I thought just to illustrate what I'm trying to say is that I thought of getting a badge saying, "She's okay, thank you," and in small print. I'm not too bad either, by the way, you know. Because every time it's, I Sue, you know. Well, no, I can't say more than that. I mean, she has been, I think, excellent as the leader of this particular council. And I put her straight on a few things, obviously, over time and, you know, out of the public eye for obvious reasons. But I wish her well, but the point really is, thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Councillor Norman. Could I call upon Councillor Farrell, please?
Yeah, thank you, Chair, and congratulations on your role, and Councillor Wishing as well. And congratulations, Councillor Stevenson. Welcome to the Cabinet. I'd like to take this moment as well to talk a bit about Councillor Woodward. Not for very long, you'll appreciate, but and I'm pleased to see that she's taken it quietly in retirement at the back. When I first got elected a couple of years ago, Councillor Woodward was, well, one of the first people I met in the leader's office, and she terrified me. And then she invited me and Councillor Hill for a tour of Burnwood. Met Councillor Ennis, it was very graceful of her. And then we worked together collegiately to set up the parish network. So yeah, I'd like to thank Councillor Woodward, and I'm also standing up because I did promise to bring her flowers today and I've forgotten. So I wish you all the best. And I do secretly know, even though she's never said this to me, I secretly know, Cher, that I am her favourite Tory. Thank you.
That sounded just a wee bit hubristic, if I may say, for Councillor Farrell, but I'm not taking issue with what you said. Thank you. If we can now call upon Councillor Wallens, please.
Yeah, good evening to you all, and I want to express my congratulations on your two appointments.
Thank you very much. That's good.
Thank you, Chair, anyways. And yeah, as I said, good evening to you, everyone. I just wanted some clarification, really, on Richard Stevenson's appointment to Cabinet, as it's a Cabinet member without a portfolio, using taxpayers' money without a job. I'm just curious to know why, or is it just jobs for the boys?
Thank you, Councillor Wallens. Do we have a response to that, please?
No.
Okay, that was suitably succinct. Right. Yeah, Councillor Booker, please.
Thank you, Chair, and congratulations to you both. Just on a serious note on that, after Councillor Wallens, can I just clarify, in my very short time here, I've seen the Cabinet go from 5 members to 8 members, now 9 members. Is there one budget that you split 9 ways, or do all 9 of you get the full allocation of allowances? And if it is the latter, are you going to have more members, or do you have one budget that's split between all members?
Thank you, Councillor Booker.
Thanks, Councillor Booker, for the question. It's all set out in the Constitution, which has been agreed by full council. Just as councillors from across this chamber can choose to turn up to 2 meetings and still get their full allowance in a year, or turn up to many meetings and still get the same allowance, it is all set out by the Constitution. If you want to make a change to that, you're more than welcome to go to the next council. But I'm acting entirely in accordance with the Constitution of the council, which has been agreed on by all members of this chamber.
Thank you, Councillor Pullen. Councillor Strachan, please.
Thank you, Chair. I'll keep it reasonably brief because I hate to speak on a motion, a paper that I'm technically beneficiary of. But I don't want to talk about Cabinet. I want to talk about Councillor Woodward and pay tribute to her excellent service as Leader of the Opposition and indeed as a member of the Labour Group on this authority. And their personal thanks, as well as thanks as a councillor in Lichfield, simply because whose service really doesn't go remarked enough until this evening when leaving. She really was incredibly diligent. Her attention to detail meant that I certainly got anything done. Say that she kept me very honest would imply that I wasn't going to be honest in the first place, but it's a hackneyed phrase and I'm going to use it. My personal memory of Sue when she was still Leader of the Opposition and before I was a member of Cabinet was when she, myself and another former councillor, Councillor White, sat in a little row in the corner of the Audit Committee, which is probably the best committee on this council, simply because it's the time to see the council with its trousers down, when you can really dig down into absolutely everything that is going on. And the power of that committee cannot be understated. I think we became nicknamed the Axis of Awkward by the then Cabinet. I obviously then joined the Cabinet, so I'm pleased to see carried on our Axis allegiance very well by keeping us there. I know that we haven't got to that paper yet, but I sincerely hope to see her installed as chair of the Standards Committee, where she will keep all councillors. And I'd like to pay my personal thanks for her service.
Thank you very much, Councillor Strachan. And I think we had Councillor Stevenson and also we got Councillor Bragger as well. So Councillor Stevenson, please.
Yes, I just wanted to thank Councillor Wallens for his kindness at the At the age of 62, I never expected to be called a boy again. So I'm very grateful for that. I do assure Councillor Booker I plan to be working very hard.
Councillor Stevenson, thank you very much for your response. If I could now call upon, please, Councillor Braga.
Thank you, Chair. I'd also like to thank Councillor Phil Woodward. It's a very high bar for me to follow. I, however, am not going to go into all her many qualities, because I think the rest of you need to know that actually she's still here, she's not retiring, and you will hear an awful lot from her.
Thank you very much, Councillor Braga. Okay, so I think that probably concludes that. Can I please ask whether those in favour of that, please, to show? Thank you very much. Any against? One, I think we have Councillor Wallens is against. Any abstentions, please, members? Thank you. Right, so we now move on to the agenda item number 13, which is election of chairs and appointment of vice chairs of committees, panels, etc. Can I call upon, please, the leader of the council?
Thank you, Chair. The list of chairs and vice chairs for 2026, 2027, as listed on the paper that was circulated prior to the meeting. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Ray, please.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I'd just like to bring an amendment to this resolution. Oh, okay.
Sorry.
It's too fast, yeah. Okay.
Do you want me to get the seconder first? We'll get the seconder first. Yes. Councillor Ray, can I just, sorry, I've jumped the gun slightly. Can I have a seconder, please, for the motion?
Thank you, Chair. Happy to second that.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Okay, as we were.
So we're now ready to resume. Thank you very much, Councillor Ray. Thank you.
I'd like to bring an amendment to the proposal to the resolution, and it relates to the position of a vice chair of planning. And instead, I'd like to propose that position for Councillor Hugh Ashton. Planning, the planning committee is a very important committee in a council and in this council. It is an important public face of the council. And it's crucial that we have our best councillors with the best skills and the best qualities in all roles, but in particular that role because of the importance of the planning committee in this council. And I say that Councillor Hugh Ashton demonstrates those skills and demonstrates the qualities that we need of a vice chair of that planning committee, and hence I propose him. But the reasons are, firstly, he is very experienced in that role as a vice chair. He has performed that role before and performed it well. He's collaborative, and I know he has a good relationship with the proposed chair, Councillor Checkland, and also importantly with the officers that in the planning department. He's experienced, and he has been on a specific LGA training course for members of the planning committee, so he brings a high level of experience, and he's hardworking, passionate, and thorough, and he brings those skills to the role. We need, as I say, the individuals with the best skills and the best qualities in these chair and vice chair roles, and therefore I propose that an amendment is brought so that the vice chair of planning is Councillor Hugh Ashton. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ray. Do we have a seconder for that amendment, please? Councillor Braga.
Thank you, Chair. I am very happy to second that. I know Councillor Ashton is a fellow councillor for Stowe and previous vice chair of planning. I second.
Thank you very much. In that case, then, we need to take that to a vote. Can I have those in favour of the amendment to give the vice chair to Councillor Hugh Ashton? It's been proposed by Councillor Ray. It's been seconded by Councillor Braga. Can I have all those in favour, a show of hands, please? Those against, please. okay for me to vote? So 20. Okay. Any abstentions, please? Two abstentions. Okay. The amendment is carried. So now voting on the substantive motion, members, including the amendment which we've just voted on. So if I can have those in favour of the substantive motion, please, including the amendment. That's carried. Thank you very much. Thank you. In which case, then that does mean that the Vice Chair of the Planning Committee will be Councillor Hugh Ashton. Thank you. Moving on, please, can we have nominations for the Chair of Scrutiny, please? Councillor Pullen, please.
Chair, I'd like to nominate Councillor Steve Norman as Chair of Overview and Scrutiny. I think everyone around this chamber would recognise that Councillor Norman does a fantastic job of remaining entirely independent in his role as Chair of Overview and Scrutiny. And I think it's much appreciated by everyone in the chamber how he approaches that role without fear or favour of own party politics, to Councillor Galvin's point earlier on. And I think our council is all the stronger for it, and we would be very happy to be hauled in front of his committee on a regular basis over the ensuing civic year.
Councillor Pullen, thank you very much. So we have a proposer. Do we have a seconder, please? Thank you very much. Councillor Ennis is seconding that proposal.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's an absolute pleasure. I'll say the word pleasure because Steve has been my vice leader, deputy leader at Burntwood Town Council for the last 3 years. And I can absolutely assure you, even being in the same party, I am scrutinised to the utmost. I have absolute confidence of anything that I think is an absolute great idea I can talk to Steve about, and he will tell me everything that could possibly go wrong with it, everything that could possibly not quite work. And having someone with that ability in that position is important for every council and everybody. He's been absolutely excellent and highly recommended, and I think he's done a great job in this committee since this council was elected. But yeah, happy to second.
Thank you very much, Councillor Ennis. Can I just say as well that having been a member of that committee on occasions, Councillor Norman does bring gravitas to that position, and I think has done a superb job. Right, do we have any other nominations? That's it. Okay, so can we have a vote on that, please? Those in favour of Councillor Norman as the Chair of the Overview and Scrutiny Committee. That's carried, isn't it? That's definitely carried. Thank you very much, members, and congratulations there to Councillor Norman. You wish to speak? Thank you.
And with your indulgence, Chair, simply to say that when the leader of the council proposes the Chair of Scrutiny Committee in the very kind ways that he did, it ain't no good for my reputation. But fortunately, Councillor Ennis actually did sort of balance that out, so I'm grateful for that. And if you're talking about gravity, I recommend Chimes at Midnight and Falstaff, and the gravity that has graced some great lines in there for Shakespeare, if somebody wants any spiritual examples.
Councillor Norman, thank you very much indeed, and congratulations on your position then as Chair of Overview and Scrutiny. Thank you. I think we can now move on to agenda item 14, which is the appointment of representatives on outside bodies. So we are approaching the end of this full council meeting. And can I call upon the leader of the council, please? And before you say anything, leader, could I just say that I'd like to nominate myself to be a member of FIFA, please?
I won't make any jokes about Seb Blatter or anything. The representative on outside bodies as per item number 14, again, which was circulated earlier on today. Thank you, Chair.
Is that seconded, please? Thank you very much. Thank you. And so we have those in favour. All in favour, please. Thank you. Please show. Thank you by raising your hands. Thank you. So that list then is approved. Thank you very much indeed. We now move on. That was very quick, wasn't it? Goodness. We can now move on, please, to agenda item 15, which is the Lichfield City Centre Design Code. Can I call upon Councillor Holland, please, to speak on this item?
Thank you, Chair. And I'd also like to congratulate you on being elected to the role. It's a role that I'd hoped to be elected to myself a couple of years ago, but it wasn't to be. I'd also like to congratulate Councillor Rushton and welcome Councillor Stevenson to the Cabinet. I'm delighted to bring the Lichfield Shopfront Design Code to full council this evening, and I'm formally moving that we adopt this document as a supplementary planning document, or SPD. I'm also incredibly pleased that this motion will be seconded tonight by my colleague, the Cabinet Member for the Local Plan, reflecting how tightly woven this initiative is into our broader strategic vision for the district. Our high streets are the heartbeat of Lichfield. They are not just places of commerce, they are repositories of our rich heritage, drivers of our local economy, and the focal points of our communities. To thrive in a competitive modern landscape, our high streets need to look their best, celebrate their unique character, and offer an inviting, high-quality environment for residents, visitors, and investors alike. The Shopfront Design Code does exactly that. It provides clear, practical, and elevated guidance for business owners, developers, and planning officers. To be absolutely clear for colleagues tonight, this evening is solely about adopting the Design Code itself as an SPD, giving it the statutory weight it needs within our planning framework. I know colleagues will be aware that we have a significant sum of money set aside in the MTFS to support our high streets via a future grant scheme. However, I want to emphasise that the financial grant scheme is entirely separate from the planning document before us tonight. That scheme is currently being finalised and will come forward in due course. Tonight, our focus is purely on establishing the design standards that will guide the future look and feel of Lichfield City Centre. As colleagues will know, this design code has undergone a thorough journey to reach us tonight. Following initial approval at Cabinet, the decision was called in and subsequently reviewed by the Overview and Scrutiny Committee. I want to take this opportunity to thank the ward members and the members of the ONS Committee for their time and their constructive feedback. The calling mechanism is a vital part of our democratic checks and balances. And having been through that extra layer of democratic oversight, I stand here tonight even more confident in the value and readiness of this document. By formally adopting this design code tonight, we give these standards real teeth within the planning framework, and we send a clear message that Lichfield District Council is committed to high quality economic development and to preserving the beautiful character of our city centre. Chair, I'm proud of the collaborative journey through this document has taken, and I now move the recommendation to adopt the Lichfield Shopfront Design Code as a supplementary planning document.
Very many thanks, Councillor Holland. Is the proposal seconded? Councillor Farrell, please.
Yes, Chair. Very happy to second and reserve my right to speak.
Thank you very much. Do we have any comments, questions, etc.? Councillor Ashton, please.
Thank you, Chair. I'm happy to go along with this. As an SPD, I think it's going to be extremely valuable. I don't think we should become a Georgian theme park, as someone has said in the past. But I do think it's important that we do preserve the character of Lichfield City Centre. I think this is a good way to do it. There's enough wriggle room within the design specs that we don't end up with a uniform, monotone palette. I'm very pleased to be able to vote for this.
Councillor Ashton, thank you very much indeed for that. Do we have a seconder? No, we've done that, haven't we? Sorry. Councillor Wallens, I beg your pardon. Councillor Wallens.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. And yeah, nice to be back up for a second time as well. Yeah. What I find interesting is this council always often says it supports local and small businesses, but looking at your own evidence, only 10 businesses responded to the online consultation, and 47 respondents raised concerns about the financial burdens of these changes, dated in Appendix D, page 6. At the same time, this design code introduces strict must requirements that will be a material consideration in planning decisions, as also stated in Appendix A, page 3, and Appendix F, page 4. So can I ask, what assessment has the council made of the cost to small and independent businesses, and how many you realistically believe will be able to afford to comply? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wallens. Do you wish to respond to that, please, Councillor Holland?
Thank you, Chair. With regards to Councillor Ashton, you mentioned uniform and monotone, and I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate Councillor Galvin on his wonderful tie of claret and blue. It's not exactly the same, but you can be the same, but also be a little bit different. To Councillor Wallens' question about what assessment has been made about the affordability, the reason that the design code is strict is because it needs to be strict, because in the past things have been allowed to happen that shouldn't have been allowed to happen, and that's why we've got some shop frontages which don't really fall within the design and the overall aesthetic appeal that we want for Lichfield. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Stevenson, did you wish to speak? Okay, Councillor Ball, please.
Thank you, Chair. Like Councillor Ashton, I support the design code, but I've got a few questions and issues that I think need to be properly addressed. I wasn't able to be at that overview and scrutiny committee because I was on a long arranged holiday that had been arranged months before, and this was happened very quickly. But I was very ably represented by a substitute, Councillor Paul Taylor, and it's good to know that that can happen. I would have been very happy to join online, but we're not allowed to do that, sadly, even from holiday, because I'm committed to this kind of thing. But I was a bit puzzled. It says in one of the reasons to call in was the fact it wasn't shared with the City Centre Master Plan Task Group, of which I'm chair, nor was it put before the Overview and Scrutiny Committee initially. And I think if both of those things had happened, we wouldn't be in this position of having to have two bites of the cherry at Cabinet. It would have been properly scrutinised first time round. So I would ask all Cabinet members to consider that in future. Anything to do with the city centre, please consult with the City Centre Master Plan Task Group, and please, on any Cabinet issues, please come to the Council, the Overview and Scrutiny Committee first before you go forward. And I'd like an assurance that that would happen. Secondly, it mentions in the minutes of the meeting a request for more elected members to be on the decision-making body. Now, what's not clear to me in that is whether that refers to the design code or to the financial regime. So I'm not sure, but I think I'm looking for assurance that when that comes forward, if it's not included here, because I did read it all, I couldn't find any reference to other councillors being involved, that a broader range of councillors involved in that decision-making body rather than one single person. Thank you.
Councillor Ball, thank you very much. Councillor Stevenson, please.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, if I could just add my voice to the cornucopia of praise that's already been heaped on you. I'm sure you'll discharge your duties with your normal erudition, eloquence and wit and fairness, except when it comes to solar panels, in all matters. I would actually like to support this, very strongly support this shopfront design code, and I'd like to congratulate my friend and colleague, Councillor Holland, and all the officers for the incredible work that's been done here. Anybody who's read through this code would have never known there was so much to know about designing shop fronts. I feel I know more than anybody could possibly want to know now, having read the document. And I think Councillor Wallens was perhaps a little bit selective in the areas he quoted from the consultation. I was very impressed with the consultation. 73% of people consulted believe that this is urgently needed, and 91% were in favour of the code. You don't get that sort of results outside of Russian elections these days. So I thought that was very, very good indeed. And reading the design code opened my eyes actually to the hodgepodge of shop frontages we have in the town, the city centre at the moment. We have some really good ones and some truly horrendous. I dropped in twice over the weekend to see how the food festival was going, and what a tremendous success that was, by the way. And I was absently-mindedly gazing at shop frontages and bumped into two district councillors who I think were doing the same thing. But why does it matter? You know, why are we doing this? And why should we be doing it? Many city centres are decaying and are wastelands of empty, neglected shops. Yet here in Lichfield, we've got a real success on our hands, a vibrant city centre providing much needed employment, especially for young people. And we have to remember that today youth unemployment rose to an 11-year high of 16.2%. So we need to do everything we can to support some of our small businesses. I looked to see actually what the sort of profit margin is on running a restaurant. It's 4.2% of turnover. I dropped into Michael's Menswear on Saturday, and I met Michael Malarkey there, who has been trading in Lichfield for incredible 70 years. He did manage to part me with rather more money than I'd intended to leave behind in the shop. Menswear shops run on a margin of 3 to 5%. These are wafer-thin margins, and I take my hat off to local business people. It must keep them awake at night, having to operate on such narrow margins, and we need to do all we can to support them. And I know that the grant scheme that is coming along, the very generous grant scheme, is on its way, and I'm really strongly in favour of that. But I just want to show you one problem that our small businesses have. If I'm running a restaurant in Lichfield and I want to create one job that pays the national average salary, which is £39,039 a year, that person will take home on average £29,446 a year after tax. To be able to afford to pay that £39,000, it costs the employer, as a very conservative estimate, £49,554. That's a £20,000 gap. And that gap, of course, is tax, it's national insurance, and it's providing pensions, and all those things go towards providing all the services that we want, the National Health Service, and indeed running councils and institutions that we all need. So we should be thanking these people running these businesses. The people like Michael Malarkey, who've been here for 70 years, are our local heroes. And I know on both sides of the chambers we have small business people here because they invest, they employ, they take risk, and they create character in our town centre, and we should be supporting them. I only have actually one question for my colleague, and that now we've heard the very welcome and overdue news of the redevelopment of the Burntwood Town Centre on the Burntwood plan, which I'm sure will delight many councillors, including myself, having lived in Burntwood for many years. But will he consider in the future similar packages for our historic village centres, for example, Aldribos?
Thank you very much, Councillor Stevenson. Did you wish to respond to that, Councillor Farrell, please? Sorry, Councillor Holland.
Thank you, Councillor Stevenson. Yes, be more than happy to look at that.
Councillor Farrell, you wish to speak, I think.
Yeah, it wasn't an empty threat when I reserved my right. I just want to speak. By the way, thank you, Councillor Stevenson. And a great example of why you are on the Cabinet. Clearly value for money tonight you are, so thank you. You're earning every penny. Well done. I just wanted to say how much I think that this shows the Lichfield District Council is moving in the right direction. In the last 12 months, we put through 3 design codes. You might remember the one for district-wide. We also put through the Birmingham Road design code, and now hopefully this one tonight. There's not many councils in this country that are putting through any design codes, and we've just put through 3. And I'm also very pleased to see that local parish councils, when they're submitting their neighbourhood plan to us, are also including design codes for their neighbourhoods. So clearly this is catching on. So I want to commend Councillor Holland, because I know that how how hard he and all the officers have worked on this. It's been a long process, but it's the right process. While we're walking around Lichfield City this weekend, enjoying some food and maybe a bit too much drink, we were looking around at Lichfield and thinking this is a beautiful place to live. But it doesn't just come from me. I was with my partner who comes from up north. She's from Barnsley, and she says, I love coming to Lichfield because it's so beautiful. And the more we can do to make it more beautiful and more appealing for tourists in the future, I think fair play. All power to you, Arbo, Councillor Holland. Thank you for bringing this forward, and I wholeheartedly support it.
Some very good points there. Thank you very much, Councillor Farrell. Councillor Strachan, I think you did suggest you wish to speak. Thank you. And I've got Councillor Ball as well. Thank you.
I'll try and keep it reasonably brief because I'm aware there are still some speakers after me and it is getting late. It's only to say that I wholeheartedly support Councillor Holland in bringing this scheme forward. And I was disappointed to hear a speech from the back of the chamber that I have to say cherry-picked some figures, although we're learning that's rather traditional with the party that it came from. Unfortunately, it wasn't particularly ingenuous because he showed where he cherry-picked them from. And it's Appendix C. It starts at page 120 of your pack. You'll see from page 130, there's quite a detailed map of every shop that's engaged with. There are, in fact, 156 respondents to this consultation, which represents, I think, the overwhelming majority of, in fact, Lichfield city centre. However, our friend also pointed out there were 10 online. Well, yes, there may be 10 online because Lichfield District Council goes beyond a mere online presence, perhaps unlike that party at the back of the chamber, because we actually go out to speak to people in person. We have 51 in-person impressions. We actually rang people up. We went and spoke to people. And the quality of those responses is borne out in Appendix C. It really does show that this is actually a very good piece of consultation that's been taken out. I have no doubt whatsoever in the safety of that consultation. I concede there is probably still some work to be done on the grant scheme and its implementation, the rollout of this. But the supplementary planning document as itself is absolutely excellent, and I look forward to supporting it.
Councillor Strachan, thank you very much. Councillor Ball, and then we'll bring this process, I think, to an end.
Sorry, Chair, I'm just wondering why you asked Councillor Holland to respond to Councillor Stevenson and not to me, for the points that I'd made. I'm happy to discuss those with them outside of this chamber, but you know, I think I made valid points that need to be recognised. Thank you.
Okay. Did you wish to answer those points at all, Councillor Holland, please?
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Ball, your question was about the increase in the number of councillors involved on the panel, I believe. Yeah, we'd already agreed this at ONS, if I recall, and we said yes, we would.
Thank you, Councillor
My question was when would we see that happening?
I'm sorry if I didn't explain it earlier. The document this evening is the supplementary planning document. It's nothing to do with the grant scheme. That's a separate matter altogether. So at a later date.
Thank you, Councillor Holland. I hope that satisfies you, Councillor Ball. Okay, thank you. Right, I think we'll bring this process to an end. Can I ask for those in favour of this, please? Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. I'm not going to count those hands. It's pretty well unanimous. Any against? Thank you. Any abstentions? Thank you. We now move on to agenda item 16, members, please, and this is questions. We now come to the questions submitted by members prior to the meeting. The answers have been circulated by email. The members who submitted questions are able to ask one supplementary question. Could I please call upon Councillor Henshaw? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I have no supplementary question.
Thank you very much. Councillor Cross, please.
Thank you, Chair. I have no supplementary.
And also Councillor Punya, please.
Thank you. I do have a supplementary question. Could you please tell me the main contributing factors to financial growth and erasing the financial gap so that the leisure centres are cost neutral this year? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Councillor Smith, please.
Thank you, Councillor Punya. I think that's an excellent question. I will just start out and say that the council provides leisure services not just about the money. Councils provide things not to make profits. They provide leisure so that it's accessible to everybody across our district. to preempt people getting ill and to keep people fit. That's our main reason for doing it. However, it is true to say that the leisure centres, the two leisure centres, three in the past, to include King Edwards, it's true to say that they have always cost the council a significant amount of money on an annual basis. So there's a balance between balancing that off so we can use the money for other services versus still providing those services and keeping the cost down for everybody else. So essentially, we've done a lot with the membership types at the leisure centres that are a bit boring and technical. So we changed how they work to make it a bit more flexible for people, make it cheaper for some, slightly more expensive if you want to use it differently. And that's basically stopped what they call churn rates, I believe, which is basically less people leaving and less people leaving all the time. Membership of Burntwood Leisure Centre has grown quite significantly due to a really good gym refurbishment. And we've also done the wet side changing facilities, which I think long awaited. Everybody will agree. So that's helped get new members. Obviously, we've opened a brand new leisure centre in Lichfield City. Fantastic. And the membership of that is increasing. I think you probably saw my first response. That's increased by 133%, which is quite from the Friary, which is quite significant. And then last but most definitely not least, we've got Project Beacon Boost, which is all the stuff we've been doing in Beacon Park for those extra leisure activities. So we've got the new Adventure Golf, which opens on Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. If anybody fancies going down for a game, we can give you some free sticks. We can give it a bash. Let's not forget we've got the enhanced 9-hole golf course. Now it was 18, but it's gone to 9. But it's gone to 9, so we're making space for other areas, and it means we can maintain the 9 in a much higher standard than we have been pleasurable. And if you want 18, you can always go around twice. And last but not least, of course, I've got this one from Councillor Booker. We've got the new paddle tennis opening in Beacon Park, and I'm going to challenge you to a game when it opens. And that's going to be excellent. And all joking aside, paddle is going to be brilliant because everyone wants to play it. If everyone wants to play it, it also means we do, as a council, get a reasonable income off that as well. But much less people have to pay than the commercial sites. I think that's it. We're doing lots more stuff, but I think that's it for now. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much there to Councillor Smith, the Deputy Leader and Cabinet Member for Leisure and Major Projects. And yes, I'm delighted to see the paddle tennis. I don't play, but my son does, and he's quite addicted to it. So let's hope lots and lots of people in Lichfield share his enthusiasm for the game. That, I think, means that it brings our live broadcast to an end, members. I would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone who has joined us this evening online, and we look forward to joining you at some point in the not too distant future. Could I once again thank all the officers who've been present here and who've contributed to this evening's meeting. Thank you. Members, it gives me great pleasure to close this meeting. The time by the council clock is 8:20. And with that, I call the meeting to a conclusion. Thank you very much. And to everyone watching.